So we're ready? Okay, perfect. So hi, on Friday Permaculture Vibes, watch, learn and grow. And today is special because we have special guest. It's one of the founder of Avno Oasis Eco Village, Kristiane. And yeah, we will talk about how to create eco village. We will talk how to apply permaculture principles and design the eco village and community. So maybe you can present yourself a little bit.
Yes, my name is Kristiane Ravenfrost. I'm Danish. I have worked with food and lifestyle and personal and spiritual development since 1982. So that's a few years by now.
Yeah, I was not born in that time. It's a long.
Yes. Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Next year.
Yeah.
83.
Oh, wow. Good. And what more did you want me to do? You wanted me to just say a little bit more about myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have been moving around a lot and lived in different countries. Norway, Sweden, for the most part, a little bit in England and some in America too. A tiny little bit in Brussels and Belgium many years ago. I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren.
Mhm. Okay, so and in 2020 you decided to create an eco village.
No, we decided to do that quite a bit before.
Okay.
Actually, my first thoughts, when I was 19 and I studied mathematical economics at Aarhus University, my friend and me, we were out looking for a place where they had some rooms available for rent, and it happened to be in what we call a store collective, or like a commune, a community, like a co-housing situation where there were several apartments in one big house, but they all shared living rooms and so on, but they had a little bit their own also. And it was just to me like, hey, that makes sense to live that way. It takes less resources, you have community and so on. And then I've been actually several times over the years, I've been connected with startups of eco-villages. For me, they have always, either they have had, we can say, nothing that binds the people together that felt right, that somehow could go, or they have been they have been like, okay, let's just build ecologically and sustainably, and then it's all going to be happy days. And I always thought we need something, some kind of community glue, some kind of common intention that bound the people together.
But there is a community which is like connected with religion, for example,
Yes,
or something like
that's
that.
exactly.
They're really strict.
That's the other thing, because that was the other extreme. Either you have to all do voice dialogue, or you all have to do a transcendental meditation, or you all have to do another one I was part of was anthroposophy, where after the first weekend meeting they said, no, you're not quite right, because you're not anthroposophy. You're not, well, whatever, anthroposoph. And no, I'm not, but I do respect it a lot. And we were about 5 of us and said, no, you cannot be here. You better create your own, because you're too different. And actually, they never got off the ground.
It was a good idea. They gave you a good idea.
No, they didn't, because I really resisted to do that for a long time. So basically, this project started back in 2016. Well, maybe actually 15.
But what was the first? Did you create a community? Some people were with you? Or?
We started trying to gather people. And I had not done any kind of education in how to create these things, so forth. So we started simply, my ex-husband and I, we started looking at How can we create a group of people and get a group together? And we very quickly had another couple. And then we tried every week to keep meetings, online meetings. And some people came, well, what is it you want to do? Yeah, well, let's together create the vision. And then they were there for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, or some of them even 8 times. And then they kind of dissipated out again because they wanted, where is the vision? What is it we're going to do? Yes, we'll do that together. Okay. So we could not create a group. And then one of the people from the other couple had gone to Fintorn, one of the oldest eco-villages in Europe. And he had done a little course there. And there he was recommended to use a book that's called Creating a Life Together by Diana Lee for Kristiane. And in that book, it became clear, first of all, that we don't need to have a big group together before we can create an eco-village. But what is important is that we do have a very clear vision. So that there's clear vision, clear values, who can be there, who cannot be there, who is, who is this for? So after we found that book, in the end of January 2017, we sat down for a whole week. And every day we worked on this vision. We used all the exercises that she had in her book to create the vision and to get clarity on what this really should be about.
Okay. So first was the vision and mission, actually, not community and not co-housing, but...
No.
Okay.
No, first was the vision and mission. And it took us a week, and we got it into one sentence. And that one sentence is our guiding principle today. We compassionately connect with ourselves, each other, and the environment, and contribute to a thriving planet. So this was what it took us a week to get to, but during that week we also had all the rest of it. So it also was clear that after that week, it was clear that we didn't just want a place for people to live. We also wanted a school, adult learning center, we called it those days. It was also clear to us that we wanted to have a place where we would be eating 2 meals a day together. Yes, we do eat 3 meals a day together now, but that's because of the circumstances. Originally, we thought that people would take care of their own breakfast, and we'd just eat lunch and dinner together, so that there was kind of a mix of, doing your own and doing together. But given this place, it's not really possible to do that mix so well. So that was clear, and it was also clear that we wanted to have small enterprises. So the combination, the 3 legs, we're so to say, is the foundation in the strategic part of this, is the co-housing or the commune living together and eating together, and then there is the school, and then there is the enterprises. And where are we right now? Yeah, well, the school, we have started several courses, and the next new course we're starting is Growing Green Skills Together.
Yeah.
So this I'm looking very much forward to.
Next month we will have a new course about practical sustainability, growing green skills. It's a long course, so you can catch all growing season and get understanding how to grow your own food, how to grow forest garden, and all about permaculture, actually, very practical skills.
Yeah, but also there will be getting the permaculture certificate during that course. So this is all good. I am very much looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to having some time, not just being more the administrative and teaching indoor, but also actually being outdoor and growing things on the land. Yeah.
And now we are having 3 months long course, Health, Happiness and Green Living, in its 3rd time, right?
Yeah, this is the third time. It's already. A 12-week course, yeah.
Yeah. If you are looking...
And that's actually about eco-village design. So it's about how we design eco-villages. The 4 dimensions, which is the economical, the ecological, the social, how do we actually create a community so that we like each other and work together. And then the ecological, where we actually have a full PDC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a PDC, if you don't know it, is a permaculture design certificate course.
Yeah. And if you are looking back, what was good? What was have done good?
I actually think we would not have been existing today if we hadn't started up with getting this vision really clear. I think this has been, and the basics has not changed. There's been different people coming in and out, but the basics principle has not changed in it. And to have that foundation that people come in, but there is not something essential to improve in the concept. There can be improvements in how we apply it and so forth, so forth. So I think that was one thing we did really, really good. I think another thing that we have been very aware from the beginning that we tried different things. One thing was that we tried to settle by Skelskør. It didn't work out with the municipality and permissions to have the school. We could have had the community there, but not the school and possibly not enterprises either. Mm-hmm. So then we decided to, and that's another good advice, we decided to actually look for buildings where we could have the school in, so we knew we would have permissions to run a school. And that's how we found these buildings in this place. And we did that, and it all happened really fast. Mm-hmm. But I think one really, really great thing is actually to take buildings that's already there. Mm-hmm. It's by far the cheapest and most sustainable way of starting an eco-village. Mm-hmm. And as a parenthesis, I can say, because I'm also on the board of LØS, National Network of Eco-Villages in Denmark, we are in Denmark right now seeking some funding to look at exactly how to use all these many old buildings that's sitting around and not being used, and to mm-hmm. create them into eco-villages. Because this is, it's a waste to have these good buildings standing and nobody really knows how to use them or what to use them for. So I think that's another thing we did very well. Then I think something that, according to the permaculture principles, we're not so lucky, mm-hmm. Because one of the principles is small and slow solutions. And the way this came about, it definitely hasn't been a small and slow solution. Because
you were very lucky with this place, right?
Yes, we were very, very lucky, and we just had to act and say, okay, do we want to take this chance? And in some ways, we're still struggling with that. We did that, but I would never, ever regret it. Mm-hmm. I have felt like at home here since day one, and it's just been right. But what happened was that in April 2020, mm-hmm. in the middle of April, we discovered this place. And then we thought we were going to be in for a lengthy process. We had just come out of the process in Skelskør, and we thought we were going to be in for a lengthy process. Our group was kind of broken down because most of the people were like, no, that was Skelskør, but now it's not in Skelskør, and it's different, so no. So we were really only 4 or 5 people in the group, and one of them was going to go on a trip to Sweden, and she never returned because she found her boyfriend up there. So we were 4 people, and 2 of them said, yeah, well, we'd like to be there for a time in its beginning, but then we like to go back to our own country again. So we just like to get it started. And we somehow assumed it wouldn't take that long time, as it actually did. And we got a donation to buy the place. We actually asked for a loan, and we got a donation, and we were like, wow, so blessed. Mm. And then we created a foundation, and we created a foundation, so the foundation is going to help this project first, and then it's going to help other projects, so that we can actually buy this place from the foundation when we are ready, which we thought we'd be much sooner than we actually are.
So it's also kind of a possibility to have a legal body for eco-village to create a foundation, right?
Yes. It works. We are running all our activities, højskole, like our adult learning center, højskole, people's college, whatever you want to call it. We are running all our activities through the foundation, so that's our legal body. And then Avno Oasis is our, can we say, spiritual or identity, if we could call it like that. And sometime we will create a different legal body. But for now, the foundation serves its purpose. And it was a fantastic thing to get this donation. It was a blessing. On the one hand, it made it possible, because what happened was a month after we got to know about this place, there was somebody else putting in an unconditional bid. And we were in the situation that either we take it or we leave it. We looked each other deeply in the eyes and we say, do we want to let go of this chance? And the answer was a clear no. I've never regretted. Yeah. Has there been difficulties? Yes. When you get a place that's very big and you're not a very big group of people, there is difficulties. Was there also difficulties with starting a foundation, not knowing about how a foundation was run? Yes. So that's another thing, you know, it's a good thing to know how the legal structures are run. So there has been some uphill there, and in the beginning we got a lawyer involved, and that created within the, somehow he was good to play on, can we say, opposites. So within the foundation, and especially between the foundation and Avno Oasis, and I was in both places for a while, there was quickly created a conflict with the lawyer blue. Can we say, gave oxygen to the fire.
Okay.
And there's always conflicts when you start a big project. There's always things to resolve, and there is opposites in this.
Especially if big money involved in it.
Yeah, that doesn't help. So, but I think that we have come a very long way.
And what do you think you could improve if you will step back?
If I step back?
Yes.
Well, having had a year from we found the place to actually move in, but we wouldn't have gotten it. If we had given the offer and said we'll move in a year, we wouldn't have gotten it, because they wanted a quick sale.
Okay.
And they were ready to put the price so low that it would sell quick. So there was no discussion. But we had to either step in or let it go. And we decided to step in, even if it wasn't a small and slow solution. But that's definitely something, it causes trouble. So the principle is right, small and slow solutions.
Yeah. It feels
But
like
we have
you caught a chance in life, like said yes for some,
Yeah.
maybe you're afraid it, but you say yes for this chance.
And also what happened was about 9 months after this conflict stuff that happened in the beginning, it almost crushed everything. So 9 months after, we were actually standing in a situation where we were 2 people left, and we had to start it up again. And this time without extra, we had some liquidity, which we had from selling my house. So we have had liquidity enough. And since then, we have actually applied the principle, small and slow solutions. So we have actually grown steadily since then, every month. Steady growth and slow growth, not fast growth.
Okay.
And so I think we have definitely learned about that principle.
So we already moved to the permaculture principles. And maybe we can take a look on the principle, and you can say that what have you used of the permaculture principle? For example, observe and interact.
Yes, a lot. A lot of observation, adjustment. Some examples was that whole, in the beginning, we were thinking that the board of the foundation could also be our board, so to speak. And we very quickly realized when all this conflict stuff came up, we quickly realized that we need to keep our core group intact as well. And then we recreated the structure. When we started growing again, we recreated the structure so that we have the foundation as our legal body, which runs everything. And then we have our vision keeper circle. In the beginning, we thought those two could be one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like an observe, hey, this does not work out because we actually have different interests.
Mm-hmm.
So then we got it split up, and that has worked wonders. We had it very clearly that the Vision Keeper group decides what direction we develop in and so on.
Vision Keeper group, it's people who are here,
Yes.
who lives in Avno.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's people who are here steady.
Mm-hmm.
It's a steady people who are here. They are part of the Vision Keeper group. And the Vision Keeper group is doing exactly that, vision keeping, making sure that our vision is intact. And then every month we have a meeting with the board of the foundation. And there we give a report, how is it going, and so on, so they know what's happening. And especially financial report and building, which is, they are the owners, if we can say they. I am both places. So there is no they, I am just changing hats. And I'm not the only one, that we have two people who are at both places. So basically then we give the rest of the people of the board, tell them what's going on and get their outside perspective on it, which is very helpful.
So now you observe and interact between each other, between foundation and vision keepers.
But also the whole thing of changing the structure. So we actually have this double, instead of one board, in reality we can say we have two, one legal board and one visionary board. And that's actually really, really, really helpful. So that's one thing where we have used the observe and interact. Obviously also in many, many other places, because we thought in the beginning, everybody's going to love this place like we love it. Everybody is going to just, run and say, hey, we want to be part of it. Now, first of all, we haven't been very good at advertising, so no, that's not happening. Secondary, we've discovered that our project is quite big with those 3 legs, and it's also quite special. So it's quite ambitious. So it takes a certain kind of people to actually fit in. On the other hand, those people who fit in here, they don't fit in so many other places. So they, because people need to have some kind of entrepreneurial spirit and be willing to be there for building up something. There's always a lot of work in starting a project. So that has to be there. And that was another thing. So once we started discovering it's not happening that way, then we started changing the strategy and building the place up, where volunteers has been here helping building up the place. And along with we can have volunteers who's here for shorter or longer periods, and some keep coming back and is kind of getting to grow into being part of the projects, although they don't live here. And we have some people who live in the vicinity here who's also part of the project, but not living here, but is contributing in different ways. So
if you want to be a volunteer in Avno Oasis, you are very welcome to come. First, not to come, to just contact us and apply. And then we will can kind of decide if its place fit you or not, and if you can come. Yeah.
And another thing is, the language thing, because we have been international from the beginning, and we're in Denmark. So we have a language thing. The people who are here, they tend to speak English, so we tend to end up sending promotion out in English, which doesn't really land very well in the Danish. Now we have a few Danes that's come recently, but otherwise we have been mostly international people. And there is an enormous strength in being from many different cultures. We have normally been between 8 and 12 different countries here, or people from, so. And there is something there as well. Yeah, so there's been many places where we've applied this one.
Okay, I'm looking on the principle catch and store energy.
Yes, this I would say is how do we catch and store energy? Well, we're catching it quite well. If we're looking at energy in terms of all the people who come here, that certainly is catching the energy. Now, storing it, the most of the people who come are travelers. They are moving on. They're not necessarily looking for a place to settle down. So, storing energy in the form of people is not working so well. But storing energy in the form of what people bring, I mean, we grow all the time. Some of those people who come back and forth, um, like Philip is, every time he comes, he's like, oh, wow, now we've grown. Oh, it's grown. So, yes, we store the energy that people bring in terms of we build on it. And one of the ways we have learned to do that is simply that when people have had a role, they create a role description so that we don't have to start over from scratch next time, but the next person can build on what the previous person have done and then improve it, and the next person can work on improving that so that we actually build on each other's work and continue to develop it. Also, we have, like this donation we got, we haven't used it for wages. We all work voluntarily. So we haven't used it to pay wages, but we have used it to put into increasing the value of the buildings. That's also storing, catching and storing energy.
Okay, now let's go next. Obtain a yield.
Yes, obtain a yield. Well, we are working on it. We are still not having surplus, but we have liquidity enough that we can keep it going for a while, so no problem. But obtaining a yield, the biggest yield we are obtaining here is really people's growth, people's development.
Yeah, because you started with money, but I don't feel it's about money.
No.
I mostly feel it's about people who have grown from it.
Yes, and the volunteers who's been here, the majority of them are really happy. Once in a while, somebody comes and it's not right for them. And for the most part, we can resolve that easily and swiftly and find out of helping them move on to what is right for them. Once in a while, somebody comes and it doesn't work so swiftly. This is part of it also. But the biggest yield is really that many of the volunteers who's been here, they write back to us that this has changed their life.
They come back to you.
They also come back here, and some keep coming back because it changes their life. And okay, so this is also another one. But also, and now students, many of them also feel it's changing their life. And we do see people coming back, which is quite amazing. So I think that's also obtaining a yield.
Okay, apply self-regulation and accept feedback.
Yeah, I think we have, if we're looking at here, this is, I've already given many examples on that, looking at what happens and accept feedback, not just in the form of what people say. I mean, some people come with feedback that has been incredibly valuable in terms of words, but many times it's also feedback in terms of seeing what happens. It's like the same as the observe and interact. And some people come with feedback that's relevant for the project they would like to develop, but maybe not for ours. That happens too. So it's also about sorting in the feedback, accepting it, and then sorting in what's relevant for us. Yeah.
Okay. Use and value renewable resources and services.
Yeah. Well, this whole place is an example on that because we are using something that has been standing empty for 10 years before we came. And we're putting life to it again. And as our neighbor says, yeah, we saw a lot of light down there because all the lights went down all the time in the night, but we didn't see life down there. Now we don't see light, now we see life.
Okay.
Yes.
Produce no waste.
We do our best. We do our very best to sort all our waste and reuse it and also recycle it wherever we can. We also have furnished this whole place with recycled furniture. Um, there's very, very little we have bought from new. We have bought some bedding from new because that was kind of nice. But otherwise, most things, a few pots and pans for new, but many, 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 many things we have simply, it's recycling. So we are also taking care of some of the waste from the society around us. And then we are fixing up and, working with things. And we are like, sewing things, upcycling things.
Yeah.
And can we do more there? Yes, a lot more. But as we get more hands, we will do more there.
And there is also a second-hand shop.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because you can not only take new clothes, but I heard feedback from some girls, they just change clothes, they try something like a couple of weeks and then you go there and try something else, and it's kind of like a shopping. You can have a new, but then you give it back and you don't need to buy it. Yeah, and actually you say second-hand shop, but really it's not a shop. Yeah. We just have a room where we put clothes in and take clothes from as we, we call it a fundus room from one of our volunteers. That's one of the words that got hanging here. Yeah. Okay, design from patterns to details. Yeah. We started with the big picture and then we're moving into the details. And the big picture is not changing, but the details, we're still working on designing details in the project. And we have on purpose left that open from the beginning so that when people come in, they can be part of designing their role and more specifically how that's going to be. Like right now, we have a young man who wants to make a maker space, a place for fixing up stuff. And I don't think we'd ever have, if we started trying to design details like this, it would become complicated. But the people come in and say, I can see you can do this here. So we have the bigger picture, and then within that, people can keep designing and be part of designing the details of this project. Okay. Integrate rather than segregate. Yes. We have many different cultures here. Oh, yeah. Out in nature, not in nature, out in the normal culture, there's very often us and them. Here, we really, really work on getting to know each other as people. I think we have a very strong culture of supporting each other when somebody is experiencing difficulties. I think we have a very strong culture of trying to use people's strength, trying to help when volunteers come, instead of just, you have to do this and that, try to get them to also find where would their proper place be here so that they can feel really integrated in the place and want it. So I think those are some of the ways we do that. Another way is not here, but actually working together with the 12-week course you mentioned before, Health, Happiness, and Green Living. We are working together with Gaia Education in Loos, the National Network of Eco-Villages. It's an eco-village design education. So that's also integrating, instead of we do our own thing. Yes, no, we collaborate. Yeah. So 12 course, it includes permaculture, just certificate course, and also eco-village design education certificate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Use small and slow solutions. I think we've talked enough about that. Yeah, we've talked enough. Use and value diversity. Yeah. Well, the many different cultures. But not just the cultures, also in terms of that, we have used the recycled furnitures, make every room different here. And we're not saying, all rooms should be the same. Yes, all rooms should have a bed and a desk, and but they are different. And they're different pieces of art, and we are not quite done with that yet. There's still more things to come and actually make it really unique, everything. So I think that's a big part of
Also the diversity of each other.
Yeah.
We are not alike. We are very different as people. We're different ages. Our youngest is your daughter,
Mhm.
who is not even yet, she's 1.5, a little bit more. And the oldest is 78. And we have pretty much all age groups, that's here. So I think that's also valuing diversity. We're not alike, we're not the same. What binds us together is that we can see the idea of this project. That's where we are alike, but otherwise we are very different and we have very different skills and different, can we say, ways of functioning. What also binds us together, I guess, is that we do all have some kind of our spiritual quest, but we don't have we're not having the same methods. But we all have some kind of spiritual connection or sense of connection. So our guiding principle is somehow alive in all of us. Yeah. And that's also part of the one we were before, integrate rather than segregate, the connection.
Yeah.
That there is a connection, there is something that binds us together, which is actually quite strong, and creates a lot of love between us.
Yeah. And it feels for me like it creates also this healing space.
Yes.
For people. Yeah.
That's right, it does, because when people come here, they usually come into a healing process. Yeah.
So, use edges and value the marginal.
Yeah.
They're almost the same.
Yes.
Yeah. Creatively use and respond to change.
Yeah, that sometimes has been a challenge
Yeah.
because given that people come for shorter or longer, there is a lot of change in their. There is a very big change in the, we can say, the people structure here. There's also change. Sometimes we have courses, and then there's period without courses, and then we have courses. And some people can find that it's a bit hard, and but it's also very dynamic, and it forces us to be present in the here and now. And the challenge, of course, is, and I think we do it quite well. The challenge is, of course, that when people come in with a certain skill, okay, how can we use that skill optimally while they're here? And if people they leave that has a skill that we're gonna miss this skill now. Okay, how can we do without? Well, then we can focus on some other areas. So the project is also so big that there is always a place we can grow.
Niche for everybody.
Yes, but it's also about not being stuck on that we have to grow this way, but that we actually allow the growth to happen more organically as to where the resources are, both in terms of people and things. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for your project that you started it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have met otherwise.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have met otherwise. That's and I would say that if somebody who listens to this would like to create an eco-village, I would say some of the key things is to create vision and mission and values, really spend time on that. Another key part is get education. I did a short eco-village design education course actually all of us who's in the core now have done the eco-village design education course before we came to this project, to this place. And to have people who are educated, to take time to educate ourselves, I think it's enormously valuable. And that's also why we do this 12-week course, Eco-Village Design Education. It has a double function. We allow people to come here and get educated so they can go out in the world and create eco-villages, and some of them are actually wanting to do that. And we also get a chance that the people who are here can educate themselves further, and who hasn't done this yet.
Yeah.
So that's another part, that's education, because it's actually a big thing to attempt to create a paradigm shift. I mean, and it is a paradigm shift to live in this kind of world. As some people say when they come here, it's like, oh, we're like, in the matter of a few days, oh, it feels like I've been here forever because it's so different and it's so new and it's a different way of living and a different way of thinking. And for the most part, very positive. For some people, also overwhelming, of course. Yeah.
So thank you very much. And as you heard, you can come and visit us like a student, like a volunteer, or like just guests. You are really welcome. And yeah, see you next Friday on Friday Permaculture Vibes.